The meaning and significance of social status is the subject of the next several slides in our presentation. We notice on slides 15 and 16 the basic meaning of social structure. We see that social structure is a mental map or a pattern of relationships that influence how we interact with other persons and with institutions and with rules within our society. It allows us to engage in relationships that are patterned without any disruption, without any embarrassment. We understand through social structure the words and meanings and actions of others. We get the meaning behind what they say and do. It's part of our learned behavior. We don't get it from our birth. It is uh, stems from the organizations into categories that lead everybody to act and behave in predictable ways. When we enter a classroom, we know how teacher and students are to act. When we engage in a sports activity, we know what the rules are and how people are supposed to act. And this helps us to behave in predictable ways and respond in predictable ways. It molds social interaction in the direction of helping us discern what is reality and what is purpose. So, social structure is rather important. One textbook defines social structure as the patterned relationships that guide how we behave and how we act and how we interpret and how we relate to others. That textbook says that it's like a classroom. We go into a classroom, we know how the teacher's supposed to act, how the students are supposed to act, and how things are supposed to go. And as long as everybody goes along with that, it works out very fine and everybody is happy. Let a disruption come, and it would. I would see the same thing in a sports event. Envision, if you can, a game in which one team plays by American football rules and another by Canadian. The Canadian rules allow players to get a head start before the ball is snapped, and the American rules require that everybody be still, absolutely still until the ball is snapped. In a football game, very large people run into each other, and that's all okay unless someone steps out of what is permissible and runs into somebody in a way that's interpreted as designed to injure. Then we have conflict. Social structure in a society allows us to know how people are to act, to understand the meaning behind their actions, and to act accordingly. One of the earliest books, a Western novel, was entitled The Virginian. Has no real connection to the TV program by this title, but the Virginian was a man from Virginia who was the foreman on a ranch. The Virginian was sent to meet a Easterner who was coming to visit. And as things happened, they had to stay in the meeting town a little longer than they had planned to, and a number of things happened. And the Easterner expressed some amazement at the way that the people acted. First of all, the Virginian met an old friend who clapped the Virginian on the back and said, "How are you, you old blank, blank, blank?" And the Virginian responded in a friendly way, and the two just embraced and had a great time of visit. But later, another man who was not a friend of the Virginian, who was in a card game with him, called him by the same term. And at this time, the Virginian put his six-shooter on the table, looked at the man very sternly, and said, "Smile when you call me that." You see, the social structure allowed the Virginian to know that the first man used the same term, but it was friendly, and the second man was not using it friendly. Social structure helps us to understand the meanings behind words and actions. Slide 17 gives us the elements within social structure. And we're going to study status and roles and groups and networks and virtual roles and institutions. And slide 18 shows us how social structure comes to be. We have culture, those unwritten, socially handed down ways of living, guides to living, maps for living, and through roles that different people have, these cultural facts are expressed. The roles are attached to the statuses people have, and these roles and statuses guide to the performance that is expected and permitted. Through interaction, these roles and performances are understood. And this finally will constitute social structure. So we are studying social structure, and we will be starting with the place of status in social structure in the next section of our study.